Welcome to your daily dose of Sunday School, episode 31. We're looking at Scripture Alone by James White, and we're continuing to look at apparent contradictions. One of the most common sources of apparent contradictions are the Gospels, because there we have the viewpoint of not just four different people, but of a lot of different people, because there's research that was involved in the the writers writing their Gospels. So what we're looking at today is a question of what did Jesus command his followers to take along with them when he sent them out to preach. So Luke 9, verse 3, Luke 9:3. And he said to them, "Take nothing for your journey, no staff, nor bag, nor bread, nor money, and do not have 2 tunics." So don't take any of that stuff. Mark 6:8 and 9. He charged them to take nothing for their journey except a staff. Okay, here he says you can have a staff. No bread, no bag, no money in their belts, but to wear sandals and not put on 2 tunics. So here again we have the 2 tunics. Here it says you can have a staff. He also said you can wear sandals, which is interesting. The other one doesn't even mention sandals, but the big thing that stands out is the staff. So did Jesus say, this seems like a pretty clear A versus not A. Remember, that's a law of non-contradiction. Something cannot both be and not be at the same time and in the same sense. And this would be one that would cause me some concern. I just recently read through the New Testament chronologically using the Bible app, which is really good, but you do come across more of these. There were several places I had to stop and think about things, and this is one of those. And this one seems to be, again, this is a great example because it is just seems to be in the form of a contradiction. But it's really hard to establish these sort of things when you're talking about somebody recounting events, because sometimes you ask for clarification and you say, "Oh, I see why you said it that way. That makes sense." And some person might mean it in a different sense. And so the solution to this comes when we look at Matthew 10 verses 9. He tells the same situation, and his is even different than the other two. It says, "Acquire no gold." So here it seems to be talking about that Matthew has this clarification of kind of packing, like don't go and get this extra stuff for your trip. "Acquire no gold, nor silver, nor copper for your belts, no money bag for your journey, nor 2 tunics, nor sandals, nor a staff, for the laborer deserves his food." So here, it's talking about don't go and pack all these things. Okay? So, how does this all fit together? We can imagine that perhaps Jesus is telling them, look, don't go out and get all this stuff for your journey. I want you to go just very simply trusting on God to provide you. So again, don't go get a staff. Should I go? One disciple says, "I'm going to go buy a staff, Jesus, to get ready for this trip," because and Jesus says, "No, don't go and prepare for this trip. I want you to go as you are." And look, it even says in this one, "nor sandals." Okay? Don't go buy shoes. Well, why not? Well, you've got shoes on your feet. Okay, go as you are, trust God to provide. So one disciple says, oh, can I go buy a staff because that would be really handy? And Jesus says, no. And then another disciple, let's say, says, well, I've got a staff already. Can I take it? And Jesus said, that's fine. Go as you are, trust God to provide, but we're not going to go packing all this stuff. So that would be a scenario where one person could say, well, Jesus said don't get any of this stuff. Well, he doesn't want to tell every detail. You don't tell every detail when you tell a story. So he's like, well, and then we got in this whole discussion. You know how these things go, right? A big group's talking, and, well, what exactly are we supposed to do? We could spend, a whole chapter of the book of Mark just going into, well, and this person said this, and so, well, you could have this if, well, there's no point to that. And it seems that Jesus is telling them, don't go acquire a staff. Oh, you've got a staff. Well, of course, take it. Oh, you've got sandals on your feet. Well, duh, everyone's got sandals on their feet. Take it. But don't go buy extra sandals. If you don't have a staff, don't worry about it. God will take care of you. So, again, it can be really hard to sort these things out. But one of the things, as I've said before, that makes the Gospels reliable is that it's very clear that the apostles didn't all sit around and try to line up their stories. If my kids come in and I ask them, hey, what have y'all been doing? And they told me like the exact word for word story, I would immediately be suspicious. Like, why? I mean, they're always going to emphasize different things. That doesn't mean anybody's lying. And here, we definitely have this situation. One thought one detail was important. Another one said, that's not important. He just said, don't go, get this stuff. But it can be difficult. And we shouldn't be afraid to wrestle with these things because God does not contradict himself.